Folks, it is the fourth and final game of the day for day one action here at the 2025 Roth Tigers Spring Baseball Tournament. It is the Asher Indians versus the Calumet Chieftains in an all Class B matchup.
Number three,
Asher, coached by David Roulette, they began the season with a victory over Walika and Mill Creek and then lost to Amber Pocasset. Back victorious again versus Smithville and Kiowa. Dropped back to back games against Valiant and Boswell. Victorious against Strother by forfeit. Lost to Wright City. Beat Hartshorn. And then dropped back to back games again against Calera and Broken Bow. 3 game win streak after that against Tecumseh, back-to-back games 9-5, 9-6, and they beat the team earlier in action today, Ada 11-6, and then dropped the game against Moss 4-1. Asher leads all teams in the state with the most state championships in baseball in history. 45, looking to get back on top of the world. It has been a tough row to hoe since the retirement of Merle Bowen. On the flip side, Calumet back-to-back runner-ups in Class B baseball against Fort Carr Broxton. They've had a rough season here to start as we head into districts next weekend. 8-6 on the season, head coach Cody Thiessen, and they started the season with a victory over correctional loss against Allen, a team that has since lost a couple of starters and having some issues. Back-to-back victories over Verdon and Stonewall, and then they lost 2 games in a row. El Reno and Fort Cobb Broxton in a run rule. Back victorious in back-to-back games against Clinton and Woodward, and then dropped again against Elk City, a very good 4A squad, and then 2 victories in a row over Blackwell and Okarche. Dropped another game against Fort Cobb Broxton 4-0. Lost a really tough game against Duncan 11-10 at the SOY, and then victorious against Lomega. And then whatever happened, 11-0 run rule loss against Okarche in their last game. They will be hosting Waynoka for districts. Just confirmed with athletic director of Roth that they will be hosting 2 teams over here in their pod. Ray Doyle will be one of the 2. So be interesting to see what happens in the tournament. Calumet leads off, and that is an E6. Just didn't get the glove down far enough, and base runner now on for the Chieftains.
Number 11, Tyler Beeson.
So teams very similar in records for the year. Not much separating them as far as win percentage wise. Kind of an atypical start to the year for both the favorites in Class B, Fort Cobb Broxton and for Calumet, both struggling and having kind of subpar records as far as their standards go. So it'll be curious to see how they turn on the Jets. Multiple teams lining up to play spoiler, notably the Stewart Hornets seem to be a very, very live dog. Seeing Mill Creek in action as well, and a couple of other squads in Class B. Obviously, Asher, keep an eye on. He's in safe at second. Another throwing error, and 2 errors back to back, and now running position for Calumet with a 1-1 pitch count. So put him in scoring position right off the get go. For those that are following the feed, this game, tomorrow's schedule has been changed, and all games Saturday have been canceled. So letting everybody know tomorrow's games start at 10 a.m., not noon. That will be the first losers bracket game between Roth and Allen at 12 o'clock or approximately thereafter. It'll be Sulphur versus the loser of this game. 2 o'clock will begin Ada versus Swing and a Miss there. So Ada Silo will be the 2 o'clock game. 4 o'clock, it'll be Tuska versus the winner of this game.
Caleb Beeson.
And then at approximately 6 p.m. will be your makeshift championship game. It will be the two winners remaining between Ada, Silo, Tushka, and the winner of this game right here. So again, no games on Saturday. Games moving up 2 hours tomorrow to accommodate 5 games instead of 4. So doing my part to let everybody know. In high for the ball. So Calumet looking to score here right off the get-go. Asher looking to get back in command. A couple of throwing errors, fielding error, and they've allowed Calumet to just pretty much skirt right through the field. Could have been a pretty routine ground out throw out 6-3 at first. Goes between his legs and can't get the glove on it. And then a wild throw into center field allows him to steal second and third. In on the mark, so it takes us to a full count, I believe, 3-2. Fouls it off to stay alive. Full count will resume. Rips it down first base line, just foul. So we'll have a 3-2 count resume. And strikeout, one down.
Up to bat, number 7, Kingston Arnold.
Right to the third baseman. So Calumet strands one. It'll be the Asher Indians coming up to bat at the bottom of the first. You're watching PNTV coverage, day one action of the 2025 Roth Tiger Spring Baseball Tournament. I'd like to thank Sparks Heating and Air and All Nations Bank for their sponsorship today for our tournament graphic, live stream, and video highlights. You missed the game prior between Tushka and Sulphur. Mamma Mia Pizzeria. It was a hit-a-thon. Sulphur had 5 home runs. Tushka had 4. Ended up being a 15-10 victory for the Tigers. So we did double bonus highlights so that you could see virtually all of the notable plays, and there were a bunch of them. Tushka had an oops start to the season, but they are really peaking at the right time, and it sets up a potential new 2A2 classification matchup between potentially Ketchum and Tusha, or even Colbert for the state title. So it's going to be a very interesting fall with the advent of the new A1 and 2 and 2A1 and 2 classifications. I was actually shocked that they didn't do it for B and A because, by my math, I think there's close to 98 teams in Class B, and they don't get a split. I do not get it. If you're going to split any of them, you would split A and B into two. You wouldn't split 2A into two. But that's precisely what the people did up in Oklahoma City. It's hard to know really how good Ketchum is. They're 24-1 on the season. They have a stellar record, but those can kind of go out the window when you're not battle tested. Lurking right below them in 2A2 classification, Tushka, and then Colbert, Oklahoma Union, Talaina, Riverside, Kanawha, and Hulbert, with Mangum and Walters rounding out the top 10. The 2A1 classification is what I would call your real 2A class schools. It's got Dale, and then surprising cash in at number 2, Clara, Dibble, Panama, Preston, Latta, and Vian. I do not get that ranking set either. Latta, Run Ruled, Calera, and it should be much higher than number 7 in the rankings. I think Preston is underranked at 6 as well. We'll be doing our best to pick up the Dibble Festival next week if we can get sponsors for it. So keep an eye on that. Another team that I think is probably a spoiler alert is Oklahoma at number 9. Shocked that they have a sub 500 record. Do not begin to know all the answers to that, but I would not be surprised to see them possibly be one of those teams that play spoiler at state. Bottom of the first underway. This is game 4. All of the games are up. We've had a lot of heavy wind and dust just kind of flying everywhere today. Otherwise, it's been pretty, pretty doable day. Unfortunately, there's going to be rain come through here in the Roth Ada Latta area late uh, Friday evening. And as a result, it looks like to me that it's going to rain all day Saturday, Sunday, and probably most of Monday. So I believe they're making the appropriate call in just moving the games from Friday. Unfortunately, that cancels in effect the 5th and 3rd place games. However, the 1st place game is still slotted for tomorrow night. We are well over an hour and 15 minutes behind schedule here. So hard to say that tomorrow's game will start right at 6 because I doubt it will. Lead off double for Asher.
Now batting, number 16, Hudson Skender.
All right, advances the runners now on the corners for Asher here early at the bottom of the first inning. No outs, things lining up perfectly for Asher.
Ryan Reddick.
And gets him on the tag out. It was going to be really super close, and he can't quite get underneath the mitt. And so Calumet stops a potential run here for Asher early on. 1 out, 3-1 pitch count resumes with the base runner at second. Strikeout, and now 2 down.
Now batting number 21, Bo Willis.
Well, the pendulum has shifted back toward Calumet. Here's the bunny pitch. Keeps it in play with the foul ball. Very anticlimactic end here in the first inning after getting multiple base runners on with no outs. Asher really threatened with runners on the corners and then tagged out at first and then a strikeout. And then now an 0-2 pitch count right here. Puts the ball in play right to the second baseman. Should be a standard 4-3, and it is. We'll head to the top of the second inning. Score remains 0-0. Chieftains coming up to bat.
Now batting number 6, Carson Cooper.
Put in play by the Chieftains is going to fly right out to center field. Shifts, hooks, and flies out. Kind of just freezes once again in the wind. It was a batter's market earlier game where Sulphur and
Number
Tusca
9,
just
Brett Reed.
wiped out a new row of trees behind home plate all the way out to left field, center field, right field. I mean, they were just bopping them out left and right. Change in format tomorrow. There will be 5 games on tap instead of 4, and then we will be done with this year's tournament. We'll start preparing for next week, potentially districts and or the Dibble Festival. In over the head, so Calumet patience pays off at the plate, and they've got the leadoff runner here with only one out. Chases it and snags it. Wished I'd have spun the camera. I thought he was going to stay right here front and center, so just missing that highlight, but exceptionally good athleticism and keeping track of the ball.
Now batting,
2
number
down.
14, Hale Stilley.
Back at first. Misses the ball. Proves costly. Calumet jumps on board 1-0. I think it was a very close play. I think he had the opportunity, but sometimes it's better just to let the ball drop and be able to close the
Up to bat,
distance.
number 5, Connor
Diving and
Beeson.
rolling, he misses it. As a result, rolls behind him, and Calumet basically gets a free base plus run on that play. That is going to leave a mark.
Up to the dish, number 3, Alan Arnold.
Up the middle should be enough for the RBI single. And he holds him at the corners. So correction, runners on the corners. First and third for Calumet. Retrospect, probably a pretty good call. That was a really good recuperation, and he got the ball
Up
in
to
real
bat,
fast.
number 11, Tyler Beeson.
In for the strike. Deep shot out to left field, clears the wall, and it is out of here. 3 RBI home run for Thiessen, and Calumet takes a commanding 4-0 lead here in the top of the second inning. Well, it was a home run palooza in the previous game. The tides kind of shift, wind not as favorable as it was prior. Earlier today, the first game, it was kind of freezing balls and lifting them.
Number 19, Caleb Beeson.
But I can tell you this much: the height of the wind, you can really notice it in the top of the tree lines. Wind very high, so if you can get a good lift with some power, it'll really, really go this year. It is a hitter's park for sure here at Roth. Definitely not a pitcher's park. This one's going crossfield, very deep to the wall, and it clears likewise. He's already to second base before the ball almost hits the tree line. And back-to-back blasts for Calumet. And pretty good day at the office brewing here. Well, this has escalated quickly.
Now batting, number 7, Kingston Arnold.
Just goes to show what can happen just on the most seemingly innocuous unsuspecting errors, just a diving catch. Had he just maybe let it one stop drop and roll right to him, it's a single, fires into shortstop or second base. And the diving play, a huge momentum shift, along with the tag out at home plate. So Calumet saves the run and then, in effect, gets a freebie to start things. And then massive blast back to back by the Thiessen brothers. And it is a 6-0 lead now for the Chieftains here. Schedule for tomorrow, should this game hold, it'll start off at 10 a.m., Allen versus Roth. Then it would be projected at 12 p.m., Asher versus Sulphur. 2 p.m., Ada Silo. 4 p.m., Calumet Tushka. And then 6 o'clock, a championship game between the two winners of the top bracket games.
Up to bat, number 6, Carson Cooper.
Keep in mind that's just a projection on this game, but going to take a furious rally by Asher and some really opportunistic stops to get back in this game. In case anybody is curious, run rules in effect: 10 runs after 4 and 8 after 5 innings are the run rule rules or specifications. Just off the mark and low, 3-1 pitch count. So a rare combination for the Chieftains. I've watched them many years now. Patient, methodical, aggressive. It's not your standard formula, but they can draw pitch counts out, and then they get the pitch that they absolutely want, can turn it in a hurry. One hop chops this one down third base line. It's hooking over to the dugout. Like to again thank Sparks Heating and Air and All Nations Bank, our coverage sponsors for today's live stream and video highlights, also making it possible to cover all the matchups of the tournament. It is looking clear that there will be games canceled on Saturday, and tomorrow we will have 5 games instead of 4. Those will get underway at 10 a.m. instead of 12 p.m., and then each game starting approximately 25 to 30 minutes after the conclusion of the game prior. So the walk for Calumet with 2 outs. Got now runners first and second.
Number 9, Brett Reed.
Courtesy runner at first base as well for the Chieftains, number 1 coming in. Takes a check swing. It doesn't go. And as the game has progressed, Calumet has been dragging out second and third ball opportunities, just kind of giving a little flex or little pinch when the ball is coming across, but not putting the bat in play. Officially 3-0 count. It did look to be very close to a strike there. So everything going Calumet's way here in the top. And Asher really struggling to get the momentum back on their side. And a hit by pitch will load up the bases, so it just keeps getting worse and worse for the Indian squad.
Now batting, number 10, Wyatt Knox.
Well, Asher gets out of one jam, finds themselves in another train wreck scenario. It is a brutal top second inning. 6 inning game may not go that far because that's in effect what Asher is down to now. Is they've got 6 at bats unless they can chip away and stop Calumet from turning this into a run rule game.
Now batting, number 4, LB Ballard.
This one's deep. Right along the wall. He's going to round second. Going to have to really put on the juice. Ooh, man, that was, I mean, like, mm. He kind of took off a stride or two coming around first
Up to bat,
and really
number
tightened
8,
the gap on that one.
Marvin Tim.
So a double for Asher here in the second. Back-to-back innings now that they've had a runner hit that spot, tagged out at home plate when they had him on the corners in the first inning. And they're going to need a big response here in the second. Check swing and doesn't go.
Now batting, number 7, Jason Foster. Up to bat, number 25, Andrew Overstreet.
And strikeout. So back-to-back innings, Asher strands the base runners will head at the top of the third. It'll be the Chieftains coming up to bat. You're watching PNTV.
Now batting, number 14, Hale Skilly.
Hit by pitch puts another runner on. Calumet now 3 for 3 innings.
Number 5, Connor Beeson. Now batting, number 3, Alan Arnold.
Doesn't get much better than that when you load the bases up on a bunt and you don't have to burn the out for the sac bunt. You know that everything is pretty much rolling your way.
Tyler Eason.
In for the strike. Well, Spanky fell in a well. Really promising start to the game for Asher. Had several stops, good opportunities to really kind of keep it high and tight. And then it all began with a routine ground out to shortstop that goes between his legs, a wild throw that overthrows second base from the catcher and rolls out to center field, and then missing a call at home on a tag, and then multiple hits just plastering. Sometimes the obvious the obvious step would be not to run back to third, but to just finish that 1 foot saunter to home plate. But I think his mind got the better of him, wondering why he wondered. So even Asher, bless their hearts, they can't even get a routine infield pop-up fly to work in their advantage. He has it momentarily, drops it right on top of the base, and the run scores. I've got 7-0 now as the lead. Scoreboard still has 6-0. We'll see if they update it here shortly. Wallops head out to right field. It's going to be close. They're going to send him home. Cutoff is going to be off the mark, and another run scores for Calumet.
Now batting, number 7, Kingston Arnold.
So I think the umpire has ruled that he got the out at third base, even though he dropped the ball. He clearly did not catch it. If the ball's put in play and he steals home plate, then he's got the advanced run. I don't know. Something kind of odd going on here. Had he caught the ball, yes, he could have tagged it at third and got the out, but he dropped the ball. So the force out at third no longer applies because he had already gone home. So trying to figure out how they made the determination there briefly that that was a double play and then went back to one out. So they finally do update the score correctly, 8-0. I think part of the confusion came with the bases being loaded, but then once a ball is put in play, you can actually steal home plate. And even though it wasn't done in the traditional sense with an infield pop up fly to third and dropping it, it in effect ended up being an RBI single or an error with the run advancing. Rips it down right field wall. That one's going to hook over foul. Full count, one down for Calumet. If they could somehow here score two more runs, hold Asher scoreless through the bottom of the fourth, we would have enough for a run rule. This one's going to go deep out center field, going to snag under it, fires, sack RBI, run scores, 9-0 lead. So what a change of events again for Asher.
Now batting, number 6, Carson Cooper.
You catch that ball at third, you almost kind of have an opportunity for a double play, bam, bam play. And just like in the first inning when it went underneath the legs of the shortstop and out to center field on an overthrow, just cannot quite get clicking on all cylinders here. 9-0 lead for Calumet. Runner on third base, 2 down now. In for the strike. Shortstop snags, fires, throws off the mark once again. That has just kind of been it in a nutshell for how things have gone for Asher. Routine ground out instead of an out, another run scores.
Up to the plate, number 9, Brett Reed.
All right, so now Calumet does have the requisite number of runs to make this a run rule should they stop Asher in the bottom of the third and fourth. So it ends now on the clock with their final 6 outs.
Up to bat, number 10, Wyatt Cox.
All right, pitching change for the Asher Indians here. Don't know that it's going to really make any difference at all now. More and more coaches making the call after the game is just absolutely on ice. The buffet trolley has been rolled out, and people are already feasting and almost full. All right, back in action. It'll be a resumed 2-0 pitch count, 2 outs, base runners first and second for Calumet. 10-0 lead. That is enough for a run rule through 4 innings. So Asher will have an opportunity to bat at the bottom of the third and fourth at a minimum. They will need to get on the scoreboard, or this will be a final score. And then we will have all 5 matchups set for tomorrow. Right now, we are projecting that the games are going to be Allen and Roth at 10 a.m., Asher Sulphur at 12 p.m., Ada Silo at 2 p.m., Calumet Tusca at 4 p.m., and then the championship game at approximately 6 p.m. tomorrow. The fifth and third place games have been canceled. There will be no games on Saturday. So just doing my best to let everybody know as they watch. I know some people repeating it probably too many times, but if somebody's new to the feed or joining in late, just want to let you know so that you will not be expecting games on Saturday due to forecasts of rain. They will not be playing any games here at Roth. All right, both runners are going. Ball put in play. This one's going to hook over to the center fielder. Flies out, and we will head to the bottom of the third inning. Indians will be up to bat. You're watching PNTV coverage. Day one action of the 2025 Spring Roth Baseball Tournament. I'd like to thank Sparks Heating and Air and All Nations Bank for their sponsorship of today's live stream and video highlights.
Now batting, number 1, Colton Johnson.
And the strikeout, one down.
Up to the dish. Number 3, Reagan Bowman.
And two down after back-to-back strikeouts.
Up to bat. Number 16, Hudson Skinder.
Swing and a miss. 2-2 pitch count. Wicked shot out to left field, just perfectly aligns for the center fielder, though. Or I should say out to right, and it hooks back. Your score through 3, Calumet 10, Asher 0. We'll head at the top of the 4th.
Love is a burning thing, and it makes a fiery by wildfire. I fell into a ring of fire. I fell into a burning ring of fire. I went down, 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 and the flames were fire. And it burns, burns, burns. The ring of fire, the ring of fire. I fell into a burning ring of fire. I went down, 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 and the flames were fire. And it burns, burns, burns. The ring of fire. Now batting, number 14, Kale Stilly.
Swing and a miss, and the strikeout.
Now batting, number 5, Connor Beeson.
6-3 ground out and 2 down. Well, potentially the first inning that Calumet would not score a run and have a base runner in both
Number
tandems.
3,
They
Talon
were
Arnold.
held scoreless in the top of the first. However, they had multiple runners on. So a moral victory here of sorts for Asher if they could get out of this inning and potentially score a run or two. Hits it right to the shortstop. 6-3 ground out, and we will head to the bottom of the fourth. Asher will need at least one run, otherwise, this will be a final score via run rule, and then we will have tomorrow's schedule set.
Now batting, number 10, Ryan Gregg.
Pops it over to the shortstop. Fires toward first, gets him on the 6-3 ground out.
Now batting, number 21, Bo Willis.
And just like that, 0-2, and Asher potentially down to their final four strikes. Swing and a miss. Third strike, base on ball attempt. Throws him out. Two down. That was funky to say the least.
Now batting, number 6, Kelby Fowler.
All right, Asher down to their final out here. So it's looking like our 10 o'clock game now is set all the way through the day. We'll have Alan Roth starting off the day, followed by Asher Sulphur. We'll switch sides of the brackets, and then it'll be Ada Silo, Calumet Tuska, and then the winners of the Rebels, Cougars, Chieftains, and Tigers. That will be your makeshift championship game tomorrow at approximately 6 p.m. Just a reminder, games start at 10 a.m. instead of 12 p.m. 0-2. Fouls it off to stay alive. Another drop. This one's going to be a 1-3 toss out. And that'll do it, folks. Ball game. Final score, Calumet 10, Asher 0. Thank you.
PNTV.